welcome to another episode of These Can't Be My Kids.
Where parenting never ends, sanity is optional, and somehow
We're still footing the bill.
Hey everybody, I'm Leela.
I'm Karen.
And thanks for tuning in today.
I did that all wrong, didn't I?
Yeah. Why you ain't just keep it going?
No, that's fine. I'm just saying I did that all wrong today. That's because I had a real week of these can't be my kids. So I'm still like, you know how it's crazy because this is episode 6, 7. I don't even know what episode it is.
I think number 6, I think.
Yeah, on social media.
Yes, but it's number 2,579 in the life of the kids because between 9 of them and all of them being grown, there's a lot of episodes that play back in your mind, a whole bunch. So
yeah, this past week has been very interesting. It's just been interesting, right? It's because too, anytime you have more than one, there's always that you're doing this for that one is this, that one is that, and
she get more than I get, he get more than I get.
Yeah,
you like him best.
Oh, for years I done had a favorite.
Girl.
Like I done had a favorite for years, or it's just like that whole, well, the youngest one you are so lenient with, but then they complain about my middle one all the time. And then it's just, but this week was just kind of like, for real, on this episode of 5,297 of These Cannot Be My Kids.
Yes, all about favorites or lack thereof.
My middle child, he was child diagnosed to have Asperger's, ADHD, and whatever else he got going on. The bottom line, he's on a spectrum, right? And now as an adult, I can't force him to go to the doctor to get tested, right? And I think he's just getting to that point where he understands, like, okay, something may be a little off, right? But with him having Asperger's, right, one of the things about kids or adults who have Asperger's, they need to have a pattern.
They have to have structure.
Right, they have to have structure, and it has to be formed into a habit.
Yes.
So if you want him to take out the trash, you have to tell him every day at the same time to take out the trash.
Yeah. Right?
And probably by 4 or 5 times, he done figure it out. Let me take out the trash. And when I tell you he got a schedule for everything, he wake up at a certain time. He get up. When we were in another state, he used to do this all when it was just me and him. He get up. He brings his son downstairs. He fixes his son some breakfast. While his son is eating, he go outside. He smoke his blunt. He come back in the house. He get his son dressed. And it's like,
but it's his routine.
It's his routine, right? And so you have to always tell him that, right? And apparently, seem like I'm the only one that know how to deal with him, right? Because all the rest of the siblings talk to him like he's 2.
Well, it's different when you have a sibling that has special needs in some capacity, whatever those special needs are, right? Because to them, they seem normal, or to them, they think that it's just, they just acting so that they could get special treatment. A lot of times they swear up and down that they just acting to get special treatment. I mean, I know I have one that also has to have a schedule. Like, if the schedule ain't right, then it's like everything you ask them to do is gone, right? It's like, you might as well not even talk to that person because they ain't gonna do nothing you ask them to do. And so the siblings, they don't see it as an issue, especially when it's not medically diagnosed in that way, right?
Yeah.
So even going through school, these kids, they probably had IEPs and they had all these different tools and stuff to kind of help make sure they get through school. But to the siblings, they was just another sibling running around the house, getting on their nerves, doing whatever they're doing. And so for them, they look at that like, oh, that's your favorite. You do everything for that person.
Oh yeah, and that's what it was this week because he was having a whole issue. Now, also in this, I understand that he do be playing on that. He be trying to manipulate the situation too. So I ain't even gonna, take it all like, oh, it's just all on your Asperger's. No, he be trying. And then on top of that, you add like forget about the chemical situation that's going on. You add on his laziness. He lazy. He is lazy. And then because he needs an IEP for life, it looks like I'm enabling him all the time, right? It's like, oh, you always enabling him. Or you gotta let him deal with the consequences.
Girl.
But the problem is, he has a son. So if he deals with the consequences, my grandson also has to deal with the consequences.
I just think that they always are. It's subjective, right? It's subjective to them because when they need the same thing, you're not playing favorites when you give it to them. You're only playing favorites when you give it to somebody else in the family. Because each of the kids asks for something. And each of the kids get something. So how is it that that one's my favorite versus you being my favorite when I'm giving it to you instead of them?
Exactly.
And they don't have the kids. So for them, it's not even a down. Like, there's no downstream. There's no grandkids in the mix for them. It's just them. And you still doing for them in the same way. So it's like, So, you know how one of my favorite things is life ain't fair.
Yeah, it's not.
So I be like, y'all looking all crazy, but you're not going to get the same thing. It's just like when you go to a job, right? And when I talk to my managers about being leaders, I tell them all the time, they can't lead everybody on their team the same way.
Right.
You can't give Jane the same thing that you gave Jacob or that Susie want because they all have different lives and different requirements in that leadership. It's the same thing as being a mother. You can't just treat them all the same way because they all have different needs.
You know, it's funny. I was telling my girls, because my girls always say, I coddle the boys. Right? And so I was talking to...
And there's more boys than it is girls.
That is number one. And then the girls are on the ends, right? So you got my youngest, boys in the middle, my oldest is a girl. So they like, oh, well, you coddle the boys, you coddle the boys. And so I'm trying to explain to my oldest the conversation I was having with my youngest, because she's complaining that I'm coddling and enabling my middle child that has his Asperger's and has his kid and he's lazy and he's entitled and blah, 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 blah. And then I'm talking to my oldest daughter and I was like, I'm not coddling. It's just that he needs a little bit more than what she may need. And of course, my oldest goes into this facial expression that says BS, right? And so she was like, no, the bottom line, Mom, is you don't let him suffer his consequences. But here's the thing. The consequence is different. Would be different for him.
Right. And the consequence doesn't just affect him.
Exactly.
The consequence also affects the kid that he has.
Exactly. So
what kind of consequence do they want to allow him to suffer that's going to be the downfall of the child? Or do they not think past that far?
No. They think about... So I think in their mind, they're like, oh, well, if you throw him out, if we throw him out the house, he'll figure out how to live on his own. We tried that before.
Well, he been living out the house for a number of years and he still ain't figured that out. What they think? Like, oh, what, this year's magically gonna happen?
Exactly. Or I don't know what, that's a very good question. I don't know what the consequences they want me to give him, because whatever consequence it is going to affect my grandson. And I haven't figured out how to separate the two, because you can't, right? And then I think I'm starting to think the baby mama a little on the spectrum too, but that's another story. But this family here, and my grandson is a part of this family, and I truly believe that he was like, the situation was set up the way it was set up because it was known for a fact that no matter what happens, my grandson will be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? But I also feel like here go the part where I think that my middle son manipulates even with his situation, because I think that sometimes he dangles my grandson like a carrot. You know what I'm saying? If
to
they
be able to get what he needs,
right? Or if they tick him off and he comes to me, he's like, Mom, they doing such and such and such and such and such and such. They done threw me out. They done ate. They came to the house with food and didn't even offer me none. Like, and they knew I was hungry. Like, all of this does not.
Like,
and you know what makes it so bad?
How many miles away are you?
I don't even, 400.
Then it's like, what you supposed to do from here?
But, and then the thing is, because they like, oh, well, he's 27. Okay, so what, at a certain age does Asperger's stop? Please tell me what that age is so I can figure it out.
Not.
Right? Or at a certain age, it will click for him, and he'll be like, you know what? I think I need to go to the doctor and get diagnosed. Like, no. And even with, you said to me the other day, you was listening to, your husband had sent you that TikTok.
Oh, the TikTok. I don't even know who it was. I can't remember who it was now. But he was talking about raising wolves and sheep. And he basically was like, either you raising a wolf or you raising a sheep. And talking about how his mothers, he was specifically talking about mothers, which is why my husband felt to send it to me. That's a whole different story. But he was saying that, like, we enable our children, and when we enable them, that we're raising sheep versus raising them to be wolves, where they can stand on their own and be able to be self-sufficient. But I think there's a balance in that, right? Because I think as parents, mothers, fathers, whoever, but definitely mothers, right? I think that, I don't know that we consider what we do with our children enabling as much as some other people do. I think that what we want is for our children to not have to go through the things that we've been through. And so we try to guide them and help lead them down a path that's going to prevent them from making the same mistakes.
Correct.
And so it's not enabling from our perspective. It is definitely assisting them, helping to be able to guide them in the way that they should be, because that is part of parenting, right? Part of parenting is guiding your children, whether they are adults or toddlers, right? You have to guide them and show them. And remember, we talked about in our episode where we talked about what makes adulthood, and age does not make somebody an adult. And so, yes, my child could be 27 and still need some guidance from me on things that maybe they've never experienced in their life. And so, should I stop guiding them because somebody else thinks it's a favorite or an enabling? Or should I continue? Because at the end of the day, it's perception. It's their perception or your perception. So, who's wrong and who's right? I think they are wrong. But
no, they think we're all wrong.
I know they do.
But that's good. It's a perception, right? Because it comes down to, you're right. What makes you feel as though it's enabling, especially if it's a situation where a person can't.
Correct.
Right. It's not like he wake up every morning and he can do this thing.
Right. He can't do the same things that you can do.
He needs to be
And
guided
yes,
into a pattern.
Capable, but that's why they call it a spectrum, right? So when you look at a spectrum, for anything, right? Whether you're talking about Asperger's, autism, even simple things like ADHD, right? They all have different spectrums. Some people have high levels, some people have low levels, right? Some people are highly functioning, some people are low functioning. Mm-hmm. And that's why there's a spectrum from low to high. And so you could be middle and have the ability to be function, but you can't do everything that you need to do. Think about our niece, right? When she was younger and she lived with us, right? She had some issues, or she was on the spectrum in some aspect, and it was like, well, why she don't shower every day, right? She was very high function. She could work, she could talk to you, she could make some life decisions, but she couldn't live on her own, and you still had to remind her every day about daily hygiene. And those are things where it's like, okay, this person is on a spectrum, so certain things you have to make sure fall within that. And that's not favoritism. That's just making sure that child has the guidance they need to be able to live their everyday life. And yeah, sometimes they have babies, and now there's a baby involved, and now you have to worry about the baby too.
Worry about the baby too. And I think too, it's like, I'm coming to this place where I'm realizing what's involved in this spectrum, right? I don't think I ever
researched it,
thought about it until he had a kid. And it's like, oh my God, like,
well, because you see it, right? You see the ramifications now. Where before, when it was just him, it was kind of like, oh, he just doing whatever he want to do for himself.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody really worrying about it. If he don't want to take care of himself, then that's fine. We just gonna let him be. But now that there's a child involved, and you can see some of the same actions and behaviors, and you like, he would know better, right? Like, you would think he would know better because he has this kid. But
exactly.
There is no better, because it's the spectrum. It's not him just being careless or whatever, because he want to take care of his son. He want to do right by
definitely.
him. But he'll always have the ability to do the things that other people think he should do.
Right, and then it comes down to, he don't have the ability, but I think he should, and because of that, I'm gonna say this or that. Like, and it be some simple stuff, right? Okay, you drop cereal on the floor, and you know your niece, boy, her mouth is treacherous. And I told her today, she said something about she knew something, and I said, I bet you did. You've been on this earth longer than anybody we know. You've been everybody, mama. Like,
Girl.
you know parenting.
She know better than everybody. Even the oldest mother around.
Like what? But, and even the same thing when it comes down to my youngest son, right? For years, everybody was like, oh, he's your favorite. Oh, he's your favorite. Because he was always in trouble. So I'm running to the courthouse. I'm running to the school. And it's not that he was my favorite, because that was not my favorite thing to do. Like, if I really...
Like, don't nobody want to take time off work to run to the school or run to the courthouse and do all this other stuff, pay fines and all this other stuff. How's that a favorite,
right? And I'm sitting in the courtroom and I'm listening to this thing that you telling me that my son doing, and I'm saying, this can't be my kid.
Like, I know my son didn't do that.
This can't be my kid. This can't be the kid that I raised. This can't be the kid. But here I am sitting in this courtroom. And my whole purpose for sitting in the courtroom is not because I don't want him to pay for what he did wrong. My whole purpose is to make sure that he does not get railroaded in doing it. So this is not my favorite thing to do. And it's not because he's my favorite kid. It's because this is the kid who needs this thing specifically done. Moment. Because if something would have happened and I wasn't there, and then they would have gave him 100 years on something stupid, then I would have had to do what? Been sitting around here doing all this. Then you would have been like...
You'd be sitting there like, why you ain't do nothing for him? Why you couldn't help him out? Why you wasn't over there when they called? You never answered your phone. All the other things that you don't do.
And then you're going to be waiting for me to be out here with a picket sign in front of the White House talking about some free my son. Like, like what the hell? Right? So it's not, and then trust me.
Oh my gosh.
The thing, and the thing about him was, he wasn't my favorite, but he was, out of my siblings, he was the better one to talk to, because for whatever reason, being in the street, whatever, he was able at a young age to recognize my sacrifices, right? Like, my youngest daughter's like, well, that's not really a sacrifice, because you signed up.
You did this on your own. Like,
you decided to have me.
These
and so
it's no sacrifice.
It's no sacrifice. This is what comes along with being a parent.
Sorry.
For him.
Sorry I had you.
Yeah, right? So, but for him, he saw early on, oh, mom made all these sacrifices. But he also used that excuse, because leave it up to him. That's the reason why he chose the streets, because he didn't want to be a burden on me. But that's my favorite kid, because he didn't want to be a burden on me, so he was my favorite. I don't know, just ridiculous. And then I have these conversations and I'm trying to balance it out. So I'm trying to talk to my middle son, and I'm like talking to him, and I'm like, listen, I understand what's going on with you, but listen to how everybody else feel, right? This is what's happening. People are taking on the responsibility that is actually yours. And as much as you could say, the hell with them, I'll do it myself, the reality is you can't.
Right.
So here's the thing. I'm going to give you this, or I'm going to give you that. Then I'm over here talking to my youngest daughter, and I'm like, listen, you have to understand that this is where, if you want him to do this, this is how you need to have to talk to him. And she's like, oh, I would just talk to you.
Show him nothing.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk to you, and then you can relay the message. No, that does not work out, right? And then I'm talking to my oldest son, who's like watching over the arch, and he's like,
He feel like he's separated already. Yeah, he like, I'm out, I'm over here.
And then my oldest daughter is like giving me, she like, oh yeah, you should read the Boundaries book. And that's in chapter 13 of the Boundaries book. Mom, you got to set boundaries. And not to say that you're not supposed to set boundaries, but I don't know how to set a boundary when each one of them have a different personality. And if we go for sheep,
the boundaries are going to be different.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody's going to like the boundary mark either. Correct. Right?
Correct. They ain't going to like their boundary mark more or less than they like anybody else's boundary mark.
Exactly. So if we go into that that video that your husband sent you about, are we raising wolves or sheep? To be honest, I have one wolf in the pack. And that's the one that everybody swear was my favorite. Well, he's the one that don't call me, ask me for nothing. He is the one that calls me.
I thought I had a wolf in my pack, but now I realize they all sheep. Yeah. One of them wears wolf clothing, and the other one just act like lambs. Listen,
yes,
I'm like,
I'm like, yeah, and I look at the pack, and when I heard that, when you shared that video with me, I was like, oh, because at first rip, I was like, oh, I got 3 wolves and 2 sheep, and then I started to think about it some more, and I'm like, no, I got 3 sheep and 2 wolves.
Yeah.
That was the same thing I just
That's
said.
the same thing you said. You got 4 sheep and 1 wolf.
Right?
At least you got one. At least you got one.
But I might be wrong about that, because when it comes to women, he's probably a sheep, but in the most part, but then they probably gonna get me for that too. They gonna be like, mommy called him a wolf because that's her favorite.
Oh, true. Yeah, see, I'm not identifying, but I will say my 1 wolf, she ain't wolf. Let's just go there.
Yeah, and even with you, right? So then we got this other thing too. Is like they don't understand. Like you have 4, I have 5. By the time we get to the youngest, we are
tired.
Exactly.
I say it all the time. Like, they think that because they're the youngest, they get everything they want because they're your favorite and all this other stuff. No, it is called sheer exhaustion. Let's just spell it out for you. Sheer exhaustion. All right? I ain't giving you no letters, just words at this point, because I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm just like done. I tell you, it's like, who wants to do all of this stuff? I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And it's because you just drained of everything else. You done tried so hard. And not only that, sometimes it's also besides the exhaustion, it's also disheartening, right? It's because you done tried your best with the ones that's before them, right? You did everything. You like, oh, I'm gonna make this sure this one, and then they go off and be stupid. And so you like, what I'm gonna keep trying for if they just gonna be stupid anyway? Like, what am I working so hard for? You know what? I'm gonna stop working so hard, and I'm just gonna start relaxing. And I'm gonna be like, all right, you figure it out when you get there. And when you need me, you call me, and then that's that.
And then they come back and say, well, your oldest just did the other day. Oh, that's because she's entitled. Yeah. She's spoiled.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's not. It has nothing to do. Actually, when you think about it, when you ask for stuff, you got it too. Same thing you just said.
They get it all the time.
It's just a different time frame.
Not even a different time frame. My youngest daughter believes in, if you don't ask, you don't get. Closed mouths don't get fed. And that girl will ask you until you pass out. She don't care. She gonna keep asking. She gonna call you. She gonna show up. She gonna text you. She gonna email you. She gonna beep you. She gonna send a bat signal.
She gonna show up where you are.
She gonna follow your location and be like, oh, let me come over there and get you. She don't not ask, right? So she asks by volume 20 times more than they do. So it appears like she's getting so much more, but it's not. It's just because she asks for more things. She asks more times. And every time you ask, you get something, but to you, she's the favorite because she just got more stuff. Well, that's because she asked for more stuff. And then they'd be like, well, I don't want to ask for more stuff. Well, then don't. But that don't mean that it's my favorite. That just means that you fell into do your part in this, right?
Know your position.
I was just saying, like, you can't. And then, of course, I only have the one boy. So he's also my favorite. So, just because by sheer volume, he's the only one. Oh, he's your little precious.
He's my precious.
He's your precious. That's right. I'd be like, no, but you know what? He's the only one that's still at home. So, he's still at home. So, of course, he gets to see me more. He gets more hugs. When I see him, he treat me nice. These girls, they could care less.
Just give them what they want.
They barely show up. I be calling them, trying to get them on the phone. But my son, he be like, hey, Mom, he come in. He's so happy to see me. So it appears like he would be my favorite just because I see him more often. And he's nice. He is a mama's boy, but that don't make him my favorite. That just makes it, he's the one that's present. And so, again, it's their perception. No matter what we do, it's never going to balance out to them. No matter what we say, it's never going to balance out to them. And they going to always be like, it ain't fair. And life ain't fair. I'm going to tell all y'all grown kids, I'm going to tell little kids too.
Life ain't fair.
Life ain't fair. Put on your big girl panties or your big boy boxers and get over it. And figure it out.
It was so funny, and we can throw it. It was so funny to me the other day. I'm talking to my youngest daughter, and she complaining about my middle son, right, going through everything, and she's like, I understand he may have Asperger's, but da 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 da. But here's the thing: in the middle of her conversation and her rant, what she said was, I get it. It may be a little bit of jealousy.
Oh, recognize
what? She said, yeah, it may be a little.
Hit the brakes.
Yeah, she was like, it may be a little bit of jealousy. Maybe I'm jealous that, I'm out here working hard and I gotta fend for myself, but he can run into all these problems and just get whatever he could get.
But do he really get what he can get? This is where you really have to like take a step back, girl, and look and listen. Is he really getting, is he living in the lap of luxury? I'm just saying, am I missing it?
No,
is he not struggling like everybody else? Maybe he's not struggling the same way you're struggling, but he's clearly struggling. He ain't living life like, he ain't out here just like skip-de-looing.
He don't have his own place.
No.
He does his entrepreneurial thing for real, not street pharmacy. Real entrepreneurial. I just want to clear that up.
Clarify. Don't be going looking for my son,
y'all. And yeah, so he don't have a regular 9 to 5, 10 to 6, 7 to 3 where they think, and then that's their thing. They think that he
gotta
should
get a regular job,
right? Because they feel like it's not that he don't make good money.
Girl,
he just don't know how to manage it.
Listen, you know how many people in the world today make their money? One, social media. They ain't 9 to 5 in it, right? That's a way that people are making money. 2, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all those things. Instacart. That's somebody's regular job. People do that all day, every day. So that is a regular job. Just because it's not the kind of regular job you have where you punch a clock and then come home, that doesn't make it not real work. That's real work.
Yeah, well, but it was interesting that she said this, right? And she said it so fast that
she tried to slide it in.
Slide it through,
she
right?
Was like,
yeah. And it was just like, and in my head, I'm like, did this girl just say jealousy? And then it comes full circle. It's like, yeah, maybe I'm jealous because but can you even imagine someone having Asperger's and not understand it? He don't understand what's going on with him, right? And he's a little prideful, right? Because he's a boy. To tell him that he got a problem and he got a kid that he knew he wasn't ready and prepared for. But here it is. So even though you may think he getting all this help,
with a baby mama that's not really present,
right? And you may think, yeah, he getting all this help. Every time he fall down, you there to pick him up. But so am I for you.
Correct.
So there's no reason to be jealous just because you get up and you working 6 days a week. Good. You know what that means? That means you are intelligent. You got a goal. You doing your thing, right? And we are proud of you. Yay.
He said yay.
Right? Like
Y-A-Y.
Yes, you're right. And then, but here was the thing, right? It was my own personal. It's the audacity for me. Let me say it again. It's the audacity for me
to sit here and judge,
to assume that I intentionally treat one of my children better than the other because of favoritism, or I am intentionally wanting to enable a kid that I am trying to guide and direct, because it has been evidently shown that if I drop dead today or tomorrow, none of these siblings,
well,
they're going to leave them out to dry.
Your insurance policy going to take care of it.
And then, and then I got to frame that in a way that we can't just give them all the money, right?
Well, you got to split it in 5. That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy to split in 5, but for him,
20% for each of them.
But for him, I have to give direction, and then I can't leave none.
You can't be just give him his 20% and call it a day.
And I can't leave none of them
and charge her his 20%.
Especially that little one. That's that little one. You don't give her no power.
she gonna be dishing out allowances. You get $200 this week.
No, she gonna be like, did you take out the trash? Did you clean out the refrigerator? Did you buy the baby something?
Any of the stuff that you were supposed to do.
I sent you a list before I went to work, and I sent it before I came home. Did you do it? You won't be getting no allowance today. Mommy dead, so ain't nothing you can do about it. That's how she would be.
Leave my niece alone.
That's how
let me take up my niece for a minute. She just got a stern demeanor.
She got. I'm a single mama. And this is for another episode. And she got daddy issues.
Listen,
she need to find that the brother who always got his ear to the streets. I hope you got your ear to the streets on this episode.
It's funny, Michaela.
You fine.
And Jasmine, they the two that act the same. They both be like, you ain't did nothing for nothing. Don't have it.
You know what's so crazy? They act like we supposed to pay them for having them.
I know. It's like you chose to have me. You said it was your fault. Like, it's like, what? I'm like, no, girl. No. I ain't paying you nothing. Actually, I do pay you a lot. I pay you a lot. A lot of attention. A lot of everything. You done got your pay due and then some.
And then some.
Shoot.
And then we supposed to feel good when they don't come to us. Well, I didn't come to you because
No, you come to me when it's shit hitting the fan. Like when it's too late. Like you coming to me when now everything is falling apart. Like if you had came to me early, then maybe I could actually help prevent the situation you in today. But no, now you knee deep in it and you want to come and be like, oh, Mom, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. And I need your help and I need your guidance. And it's like, man, like if you had come to me early on, you probably could be in a different space.
If you
But you want to be independent.
Right. If you would have came to me when you needed $200 instead of $2,589.37.
Somebody must have needed that amount, y'all. That sounded too exact.
Too exact. I don't know. I think, and you know what another thing is too, is that as you try to balance it out, for me, I'm not saying for anybody else, and I guess for me, and this is why therapy was actually kind of hard this week too, because as I'm trying to balance it out so everybody can feel, valued, and like I'm not having favorites. I'm not doing any of this. I'm trying to balance it out for everybody, and I don't know how to do that. And then I start feeling guilty, and I'm like, dang, what did I do? Where did I miss that step? Can I do this step better? Whatever. And then I'm spending all this time trying to figure out, like, not only how I can balance it, but how I could feel better. Now I'm stressing myself out. I can't sleep. I'm dreaming about these kids and like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
What they need, what I gotta do next.
What I gotta do next.
This? How am I gonna make them get along? It's that whole thing.
Yes.
Right? I think we also, and this is probably a whole nother episode on another day, but I'm just gonna mention it in this one, is like wanting your children to get along with each other so that when you aren't here, they have each other, right? And so we say today, right, they go to bat for each other. As much as they complain, they go to bat for each other.
Right.
But then you still have that little hidden piece in the back of your mind that be like, are they only doing that because I'm still present? And they know that's what I want. And then when I'm not present, that's not what they're going to do. Because I know sometimes none of them get along with each other in my house. Like all four of mine, they be like, oh, I'll be like, when last time you talked? I ain't talking to them. I ain't talked to them this time. And not like in a negative, like super negative way. But of course they have those interactions. And so it's like, how do you keep that balance of, I want them to know that they have to look out for each other and be there for each other. Because one day we won't be here.
Exactly.
And so it's like, that's that balancing act. Because then it's like, to your point, the one they think is your favorite, are they going to treat that one differently when the time comes? See? That's why I said.
Yeah.
Maybe we got to take a poll.
A poll for what?
A poll to see what people think about their kids and if they're going to look out for the other one.
I thought you saw about take a poll for the kids so they could tell us.
Well, we can ask them too.
Girl, they gonna lie.
I thought you was thinking about the poll in the living room. So be like, let's get that. Woo, woo. Next episode, you get to see Karen on the poll.
Girl. Speaking of, what are you drinking?
I am drinking, I made a little mixture today. I got my Rinaldi wine with a little bit of pineapple juice. So just mixed it.
Why?
Because I don't know. I had some pineapple juice in my cup and I was trying to fill the rest up with wine. It tastes good though.
Pineapple juice and wine.
I like it.
Always trying something new.
Listen.
I'm drinking champagne.
I know, you got a nice champagne. That one is nice. I was going to put some of that.
Yeah, it really is. It smells strong, but it tastes,
it's not heavy. It's
yeah.
a nice Prosecco.
Oh yeah, I got it from Trader Joe's, which talking to your niece yesterday, she said, you finally made it to Trader Joe's? Because I went to Trader Joe's because I wanted some orange chicken. But she was like, did you do $2 chuck?
$2 chuck. Have y'all heard of $2 chuck? Because I don't know what $2 chuck
Well, she said
is.
$2 chuck is where you get wine for $2. Did you see that while we were
I
sitting
didn't see that. Maybe they just had it lowly. But did we really walk around the wine section? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. The daggone store was
We
like
did.
8 cubic
It's gotta be
centimeters.
the smallest. It's the smallest Trader Joe's I've ever
seen.
But yeah, still they had everything we needed though.
Oh yeah, they
They
did.
still had all the good stuff. You know, Trader Joe's still.
They just
did
didn't
their
have,
thing.
we just couldn't find a two. Now we gotta
Trader
go back
Joe's.
and look at $2 chuck.
Now we gotta find $2 chuck. So next time.
And some flowers, because that was the other thing she said. She
Oh,
said, did
man,
y'all
the
buy
flowers
flowers?
they smell so good.
They did smell good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just our little rant. But y'all tell us.
I know.
Do y'all have favorites?
Yeah. Or is it just that life ain't fair?
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole perception, because that is that a real thing? Is favoritism a real thing, or is it perception?
Well, perception is reality for those who live in it. Just so you know.
Okay.
Y'all know what I mean. But
As usual,
yes, you may want to say,
these can't be my kids.
but they are. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of These Can't Be My Kids.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.